Hi everyone, welcome to Farsight Weekly for August 19th, 2024. I'm Courtney Brown, Director of Farsight, where we study the subject of remote viewing widely applied, where all data are collected under totally blind and scientifically defensible conditions. So let's dive in. What's going on? Well, first off, the Democratic National Convention is going to start this week, like today. So it will be interesting to see if the predictions made in our Deep News project for this event turn out correct. Let's see. We were pretty good with the Republican National Convention. If you have not seen the forecast for the Democratic National Convention yet, the links are below this video in the description area. And we also just released our major project, The Destruction of Tanis. Now, if you have not yet seen it, you should watch it. It is an archaeological project that focuses on a location in the Delta region of the Nile River in Egypt that was totally destroyed in ancient times, blown up. We now know what happened, and if you are interested in resolving ancient mysteries that involve real extraterrestrial battles on Earth, watch this. In about a week, we are going to publish our first Farsight board meeting that involves nearly everyone at Farsight and 2 extraterrestrials. We call the extraterrestrials who we work with at Farsight the good ETs, and they want us to do this. They want people to see that they desire open contact now, not in the distant future, under whatever conditions are possible. There are 2 things that are stopping that from happening in large numbers, and they are, first, the Cold War that currently exists between the good ETs and a group that we call the bad ETs. And second, the control that the bad ETs have over the U.S. government that involve very unfortunate written agreements that stipulate the continuation of absolute secrecy regarding the existence of the extraterrestrial presence on Earth. Violations of those written agreements normally result in military intervention. This is why nearly all ET ships are cloaked, visible only using specialized camera equipment that records at 120 frames per second and in infrared. Invisibility is a real thing among all ET activities near Earth, including the visibility of their personnel. It is all done with tech, of course. There are occasional lapses in invisibility, which is why some people video record ET ships using normal cameras, but relative to the numbers of ET ships that fly in Earth's skies, the visible ships are rare. The same is true of the ET personnel. The bad ETs don't want you to see any real extraterrestrials. Secrecy is a major part of how they keep control of this planet, and clear visibility with the good ETs normally results in immediate military action. When you get sightings of UAPs or UFOs in visible light, those are almost always ships of the bad ETs who are not at risk of being shot down. Well, the good ETs want all this secrecy stuff to end. Now, not the future. They want to communicate with Earth humans now and openly. It is really difficult for them to do this in the context of Earth as a prison planet run by the bad ETs. But they have long been working with us at Farsight, and they now want our interactions to be recorded live on video for you to see. The invisibility thing is still a thing in order to avoid military intervention, and it took years of training for Farsight members to be able to see the ETs clearly. We don't have any trouble seeing them. People without training normally cannot see through the stealth tech that is required to use in the current situation on this planet. But even if they made themselves visible to the human eye, the audience would think that they are paid actors. So in terms of believability, the invisibility thing is really not an issue. What really matters is that you see and hear the interactions between us and our ET allies, all recorded live. Again, they want you to watch these interactions. The interactions are not designed to prove to you that the extraterrestrials are real. We have already offered you proof of their existence by showing you how to make your own video recordings of the ET ships on demand using methods that evade their stealth tech. And then there are the congressional hearings and the public testimonies of many reliable governmental insiders who are willing to speak publicly on the subject. So there is no shortage of information regarding the reality of the extraterrestrials. The bad ETs still control the highest levels of governmental leadership and all of the major media. But for those who are willing to look beyond the controls of the powers that be, the evidence of the ET presence on Earth is clear. Again, we will publish the first of our Farsight board meetings around the end of the third week in August. We are planning for these to be monthly meetings and for you to be able to sit in on them. Again, they are not designed to convince you that the ETs are real. They are just part of the process whereby the good ETs can show you what they are doing. Whether you believe it or not is up to you. The good ETs just want the complete end of secrecy. They want you to know them and to be witnesses to what they do. We are publishing this on FarsightPrime.com. Please understand that there are limits to what we can publish on YouTube. As many of you know who follow our activities at Farsight, Yeme is one of our remote viewers. She is one of the strongest telepaths that I have ever met. She was legally blind for most of her life, and she also was and still is a hugely charismatic model. She used her telepathic capabilities to protect herself when around others who she could not see clearly. Since she could not see them, she had to feel them. Well, her eyesight is totally fixed now due to an operation that was nearly miraculous. She now sees more clearly than anyone I know, but her telepathic capabilities have remained. It is a permanent part of her. She even teaches telepathy as part of her activities as a teacher of remote viewing. Now, each week we bring you a brief segment from one of our remote viewers, and this week, here is Yeme.
Hey guys, I am Yeme from Farsight. I am going to be talking to you all about support in remote viewing, support in your mental health, just support altogether, and how it ties into the remote viewing process. During remote viewing at Farsight, it is very, very stressed that we have an okay emotional stability. And it's okay that we are physically stable, emotionally stable, mentally stable at all times. If there's any pain of any sort for any reason, do not remote view. Not that day. So, with remote viewing, what I have come to learn and have experienced my 9 to 10 or so years that I've been here is that support is very important. I often always tell my students, if you have a loved one, a friend, a partner, a child, a puppy, whatever it is that may want to come and visit you in class or while you're learning, that it's totally okay for you to take those breaks to get your love, to go get your support, because it helps with your emotional stability. In remote viewing, we encounter a lot of different things, at least here at Farsight, but those of you out there that are just jumping into things, it can be stressful because of the unknown. A lot of the times the unknown gets us high energy, highly stressed. It makes our work not come out appropriately. It makes it so that maybe we'll miss target or misrepresent our target or misunderstand our feelings and emotions. When I first started to remote view, Dr. Brown always made sure that I was well fed, that I was well rested, that I was well loved on. He's my best friend. And he would always come, and if he could feel that my energy was heightened in the session, he would just quietly, when I was first learning, lay a hand on my shoulder. And he'll say something like, "You got it, champ." Or I knew I could go to him and say, "Hey, I need a hug." Maybe I was emotional that day. Maybe, I was traveling a lot back and forth when I first started learning. And he was a great support system for me. He was someone that I knew I had in my back corner. He was someone that I knew I could go to when I was confused in life and just didn't know what to do, and that could motivate me and let me know that I'm on the right track, what I'm doing, even in my session. So the support is not just for remote viewing, it's for your heart, it's for your smile, it's for your energy and high vibrations. This is how you are able to connect with your higher self. Connecting with your higher self involves your mind being at ease. Connecting with your higher self involves your heart being at ease. I was listening to Abraham Hicks just a few days ago. And in that, I don't know which segment it was in because I listened to so many, but in that segment, they were saying, you know, that Esther sometimes can't reach that level of meditation to where she can get that information. But Esther's aware of it. So she'll go and she'll center and get the support from her husband or the people around her. She'll go and get the things that she needs so that she can bring herself in, reel herself in, so that she can reach that highest connection with herself and with the beings that she's communicating to. It is very much the same in remote viewing. It is very much the same in life. I always say that remote viewing is more than just science. It's more than just the targets and the finding of people. Remote viewing is a way of life. At least that's how it is for me. With remote viewing, I utilize the process and the protocols of how to move through the structure. I do that in life as well. I do that with my friends. I remember to let go. Like I tell all my students, you have to let go. I remember to clear my head before I move forward in a conversation, or in remote viewing's case, a session. I remember to accept anything without editing it out. So not making my own assumption about what someone is doing, what someone is saying based on how we feel. It's based on what it is that's factual and that's true. So that is really, really big for me on why support is so important for remote viewing, why support is important for your mental health, why support is important for your emotional health. So after this video, go get a hug, go rub a puppy, or go pet a kitten, and have an amazing, amazing day. Thank you all for following Farsight. Thank you for being a part in changing the world and making it into a better place. And thank you for being a part of my friend tribe.
In other news, we have decided to restart our Sequel Plus project after pausing it for a couple of weeks, and to continue the project through the end of 2024. We have done cryptocurrency investigations using remote viewing for nearly 5 years, and a few weeks ago we thought it was time to stop selling the identities of our forecasts as we move on to do other things. But that decision was premature, it seems, and we are reversing it. Our Sequel Plus forecasts focus on the adoption of select cryptocurrencies. We investigate which currencies will survive and thrive into the future. Of the thousands of cryptocurrencies that exist right now, nearly all of them will go away, but some will survive and thrive, and we are interested in identifying the survivors. But when we paused our Sequel Plus project a few weeks ago, we received some emails from people who are concerned about the long-term future of the US dollar given the enormous existential threat of the US governmental debt, and the desire by some countries and investors to move away from the use of national currencies that are controlled by corrupt and unreliable politicians. So, we decided to continue to sell the identities of the cryptocurrencies, which we have investigated, through the end of this year, 2024. We are also going to publish a few more forecasts that we have done but not yet published. So through the rest of 2024, interested people can still purchase the Sequel Plus identities. Information about our Sequel Plus project can be found on our website, farsight.org. Please be aware that no one at Farsight is a licensed financial advisor. So anything that anyone at Farsight does that relates to using remote viewing to predict financial or economic outcomes of any type, including the performance, however defined, or selling prices of cryptocurrencies, stocks, commodities, or anything else, is done for entertainment and educational purposes only. Everyone doing investments are doing so at their own risk. These are experiments in remote viewing, and there are no guarantees or warranties being made, either expressed or implied. Nonetheless, these efforts are truly interesting on a grand scale, and we at Farsight believe that after we do this for a while, it will be hard for anyone to ignore the reality of remote viewing. Moving on, I want to remind everyone that Farsight is totally data-driven. We use an advanced version of a very novel methodology. In general, Farsight projects tend to be exceptionally accurate, and again, all of our data are collected under scientifically defensible and totally blind conditions. We do not report what other people say, which is he said, she said stuff. That is what you get everywhere else. Farsight offers you raw perceptions from highly trained remote viewers with extensive public track records. You don't get that from anywhere else. Farsight is unique. Remember also that at FarsightPrime.com we have forums where people have discussions and ask lots of questions. We are engaging these questions in a highly public manner, so Farsight is not just a place to see the world using an entirely different lens. It is also a place where you can interact with others to have discussions. Now, in August 2024, Aziz Brown is answering many of the questions posed in the forums. So, take a look. Also coming up on FarsightPrime.com is a major investigation into the account of Michael Herrera, a U.S. military veteran who witnessed a UFO or UAP back in 2009 while participating in an operation in the jungles of Indonesia. It appears that this UAP and the special operatives working with it may have been involved in a major human trafficking operation, a phenomenon that we at Farsight have found to be associated with the bad ETs. That will be published at the end of the first week in September. Also, I should add at this point that on FarsightPrime.com we are now offering captions in multiple languages for many of our videos, so English is not a limitation on FarsightPrime.com. Now, deep news. We are releasing more in our Deep News project in a few days. Some of this will include the upcoming war between Israel and Hezbollah. We already released one session on this topic and 3 more are coming up. The big war between Israel and Hezbollah seems more and more likely, so if you want to see how it will turn out, you have front row seats at Farsight. At Farsight, we think that such major conflicts are largely the result of manipulative activities of the bad ETs, who want to keep humanity in a constant state of chaos and turmoil, precisely to stop people from settling down and focusing on the ET activities. These wars simply would not be so common if the bad ETs were not involved. Nonetheless, these moments of struggle are opportunities to show you how remote viewing works and to give you the deep. So keep watching our Farsight Deep News project on that and a variety of other news stories. Remember also that we have a huge instructional and educational effort here at Farsight. We have people teaching our version of remote viewing, and we offer lots of instructional videos on FarsightPrime.com, plus printed materials on Farsight.org. We are also listing our Farsight certified instructors who are teaching these classes, and the list will grow as more people obtain certification. The Farsight instructors are doing this on their own. Farsight does not get any financial benefit from their activities, so start by going to our website, farsight.org, and near the top of the navigation bar on the left, you will see a link for Farsight remote viewing courses. Farsight is totally transparent. Farsight is first class from top to bottom. So when you follow our stuff, you are engaging with the best. To keep up with what we do at Farsight, start by subscribing to our YouTube channel and remember to click on the notifications bell that appears after you subscribe. That is the only way YouTube will notify you of the new events, especially our live stream events. Just subscribing doesn't do anything. The notifications bell is the important part, but that only notifies you of things that we release on YouTube. To be notified about the things that we release on FarsightPrime.com, which you can watch using our Apple and Android apps on the web and on your home TV, you need to subscribe to our free email newsletter found on our website at farsight.org. You can also allow our apps to notify you of our new releases on FarsightPrime.com. The links for YouTube and our newsletter are in the description area below this video, and the app is, well, it's on your phone. Those are how we announce what we do. We never send out spam, and we never give our subscriber list to anyone else for any purpose. Well, that is it for this week at Farsight. Each week we will bring you the latest. Stick with us in these changing times, and we will always stick with you. What you get from Farsight, you can get absolutely nowhere else. Stay ahead of the curve. Let the mainstream fade in the dust. Be there now. I'm Courtney Brown, Director of Farsight.